The history of physician house calls goes back to the 1930s, when doctors regularly visited patients at home. Today, we're seeing a resurgence of house calls for patients who are too sick or injured to seek medical attention outside their home. Dr. Gabriel Muriel and Yolanda Covey with Home Physicians Group are here to explain how physician house calls work. And welcome to both of you. I just was recounting when I was very young, I remembered our doctor would come to the house. Dr. Polskin would come and, see my brothers and my mom, my dad and me, and it was wonderful. Now there's a resurgence in house calls. So doctor, how does this all happen? How does this work?
Well, it comes out of a necessity. As we have a population that's increasing in age and we are living longer, it becomes harder and harder to be able to go out and see your doctor and sit in the doctor's office for 3-4 hours
Sure.
when they're double booked. Sometimes we have loved ones who are too ill, but we're caring for them still. And so having that service has made a great impact to allow our patients to age gracefully in place instead of having to be all over the place and overextended.
And sure, getting, maybe that transportation to the doctor's office
Absolutely.
is difficult. Now, it's not just, kind of that, you're there with the black bag and, checking somebody's temperature. You're telling me there are all kinds of screenings that can also happen at home.
So absolutely, we do depression screenings, diabetic foot exams. We also offer other services. So if the patients are ill, we can get physical therapy to come in and provide services, nursing care. We have done IV infusions and antibiotics, IVs, things that we done 20 years ago in the hospital, we can now do at home and take care of patients. We've taken care of severe pneumonias, heart failure problems, etc., in the home setting without having to hospitalize the patients.
And I understand there's also a component with telemedicine.
Correct.
So, all kinds of possibilities. Yes, go ahead.
Sure, absolutely. So with technology advancing, patients that were able to connect with their doctors right away and maybe even have to wait for us to come and visit at home. Nowadays, they can communicate with us through telemedicine and have a face-to-face interaction with the provider when, the loved one might be having beginnings of a cough or a cold.
Sure.
And you want to get it right away instead of waiting 3 or 4 days.
Now we're going to get to the nuts and bolts of this, but basically I'm sure as a doctor this really makes a difference to you in seeing the patient in their home setting and what a difference that makes you coming in to see them.
It creates a much more intimate process. The patient allows us and the family to come into their home setting, so it develops a trust. We get to see the family dynamics and how support occurs for the patient and how that support also affects the caregivers, because we have things such as caregiver burnout. And so that needs to be cared for, and that falls under the mental health care that we provide. And in that improved security, the patients open up more to us, and we're able to create a much better process of taking care of the whole patient and knowing exactly what's going on with their health care.
They don't feel that rush of, I have to, get out of the doctor's office and all of this. Now, Yolanda, as I mentioned, what are the nuts and bolts of applying for this? Who is eligible? How many, appointments could they, schedule? How does this all work?
So as the doctor was saying, it's important to note that our geriatric are living longer. So, but they are in the home. So the patient does need to be homebound. That is a criteria for seeing you in the home. And all you have to do is call a home visiting physician group and let them know that you would like to see a doctor can come to the home, and we will verify your eligibility through your insurance. But it's very simple, and we usually schedule an appointment very quickly.
So, all right, so someone's gone through, and of course we'll have all of this information on the screen in just a few minutes.
Yes.
But, is there a limit on how many times they can request a doctor?
Thank you. No, there really isn't. Just like your regular doctor's office, if there is a need, our providers can go out there and see you at any time. And it's very convenient and very easy.
And I'm sure you have, situations where it's really made a difference in the overall health of not only the patient, but their caregiver as well, their family that see that kind of an intimate setting.
Absolutely, especially if the patient is, very sick. We can avoid a hospitalization by sending a provider into the home, and really that's what we want to do, care for them in the home, and we are able to do that.
So thank you again, and it is nice to hear that physician house calls are making a comeback. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been nice.